Hello, everybody. My name is Ulfgarður, and welcome back to Yvardsaga. We left off last we saw our heroes. In case you didn't see on the screen or you missed it, you're joining right this second, whatever it is. All of that's okay. We're going to recap real quick anyway. So, uh, our friends were meant to go get permission from the local mushroom folk leader who was supposed to allow them to pass through the region they need to pass through without being bothered. And they got there and the whole place was on fire. And including said mushroom folk leader, the Myconid sovereign, was dead. Like there was pretty much nobody left in this blaze. But they managed to find two survivors, neither of which were mushroom folk, get them to safety and keep the fire from spreading in their direction. And they helped kind of get the survivors stable, and one of them is awake, and that's where we're going to pick up. But we're not jumping right into it, because I mean that's not usually how we do it. I just am all over the place in my head today, so it's just going to be a weird one. But I wanted to make sure I took the time to say, ah, good to see you, Carl. I hope you have been doing well, my friend. Hopefully you are staying warm. I don't know what the weather's like over by you, but around here it's been weird and mostly been mild. Um, but I hope for you guys it's been pretty decent over in your neck of the woods too. Um, let's see. We have no particular news or announcements coming up other than in the next few weeks, I'm going to be working on something I am excited about for the stream, for the session. I don't know exactly when it's going to be done. It might be a couple weeks, um, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be cool and fun, and I think y'all are really gonna get a kick out of it. I think it's gonna be something that gives a little more oomph to our D&D streams, and yeah, I'm stoked. But that's all I'll say about it now. It's squalling out here right now. Okay, all right. Well, good luck. At least you're hopefully hunkered down inside somewhere warm. Get a nice warm cup of, I don't know if you're a coffee person, a tea person, a hot chocolate with schnapps person. Any of those are acceptable. Something nice and warm, something good. Just nestle in and get ready for some silliness, because me and Pez are both kind of varying percentages, but notably percentages of kind of brain fried today. So we're in for a good time. It's going to be silly. Let's see. That said, um, yeah, man, we really don't have any announcements or anything, so we might as well just start the game, huh? We'll jump into the game, I think. And last week we didn't take a wellness break because we started pretty late. Two brain cells fighting for third place. Got it. Exactly, Carl. That is me and Pez tonight. I can't speak for Rad or Possum. They may or may not be in that boat. So we're just here having fun. We're just here to play a game tonight. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump in, and we'll take a wellness break tonight. Last week, since we started pretty late, we didn't, but we'll take one because I like making sure we get at least one so that I have a break where I can interact with you guys, um, answer questions, even if they have nothing to do with anything on stream. Just, I know that with this format, it takes a little bit away from the Let's Plays as far as being able to interact with you guys. So I appreciate your patience and your support of us doing this. Instead, I do try and read your comments as best I can as we're going. Um, so just thank you. I appreciate it. I've been having a lot of fun doing this content, and before too long, I do intend to go back and also include some Let's Plays in the near future. Probably only doing one or two a week like we used to do for a while. And we'll still do D&D, but I had wanted to get the groove of this before throwing that spinning plate back up onto my finger somewhere. Is that where you put? I don't know where you put spinning plates. I was thinking a basketball. I don't think that works, but here we are. This is the energy we have tonight, y'all, and I think we're just gonna go with it. So let's get going. Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie. Make sure I have all my stuff set. So last time I did put on music in the background, and I can't hear it when we're recording for whatever reason. It's kind of like the blurps. I know you guys can hear it, but I can't. So it got a little loud last time. So I might turn it on later, but it'll be pretty quiet. So just let me know if it's too loud, and I'll adjust it because I want you guys to be able to hear us. But for now, at least to get started, we're not going to have any music. That's still something I'm experimenting with. Okay, friends.
Hello.
Hello, we have returned.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Everybody hearing me okay? I
Hmm.
haven't
Yep.
borked my settings somewhere along the way.
Can chat hear us?
Uh,
Bork, bork, bork.
I should think so. You guys are showing up on my sound as if chat should be able to hear you.
Okay. I mean, I could turn the sound on with the Twitch, but that sounds like a lot of work.
I'm not too worried about it. Chat can hear y'all loud and clear. Thank you, Carl. Good copy. All right, so picking back up where we left off, you guys had found a mushroom cavern in a blaze, and very thoroughly so. You found a couple survivors and managed to get them inside a building that was not on fire, and you managed to keep it from being on fire. It took some work, particularly only being level 3 characters, the sorts of spells that could control the magnitude of out of fire or out of control wildfire that you found yourself in. They're a little further up the XP scale from you, but you guys did really well. Um, and the last couple things that happened were, well, one, Ron was fairly frustrated about a few things during that that never quite necessarily got addressed. We'll see if that comes up. Uh, who knows? He might just be the bury it down and sulk type, but he's still doing his job. Um, but you guys managed to save a Goliath, and at first, what had seemed maybe like a halfling turned out to be a small owlin. And the Goliath was stable but still unconscious. The owlin was healed a little bit after they had gone unconscious during the rescue, uh, but they did recover consciousness and sit up. Um, as a reminder of what you are seeing, an owlin is just a humanoid bird like an Arakakra, but specifically with, you might have guessed it, owl-like features instead of more like eagle or hawk type features. But they have arms and a full set of wings on their back instead of like arms that are also wings. Um, but they had sat up and looked at Ayejiye and asked, "Is he dead?"
That's such a cute voice.
And I believe it was just a Yejier in the building, and the rest of you were still outside, kind of making sure that you still had some control over the fire. Um, which a Yejier, I don't know if you would want to engage them with an answer immediately. I think you were maybe on your way out, if I remember correctly, or you were going to stick inside and make sure everything was good. I'm getting a nod that says yes, sticking inside. Um, so feel free to engage in conversation if you would like, or y'all outside, we can jump to you. But I had assumed we'd start with the conversation.
Ayesha is a little startled because she was mid work of going through her bag and seeing like what she had that she could maybe turn into salves or like smoke antitoxins. So she's startled out of her concentration and oh, he's alive. But I don't know how hurt he is.
Good. Good. Is anyone else alive? Or are they all dead?
The only ones that I know are alive are the ones that came here with me.
How many came with you?
3. I had to do math real quick. 2 plus 1. They're outside trying to douse some of the fires.
AOJ peeks outside. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 3. Do you know who started the fires?
We didn't.
There's a
They've been
song about
always
it.
burning.
Oh God. Thanks for that. We're off to a great start, y'all. Um I did.
Yeshi's just gonna stare at this owl
And all you get back are proportionately for the face, like an owl, very, even though it is a small face, very large eyes, just blinking a few times back at you.
Was it on purpose?
No.
She nods. Well, maybe say it was an accident next time. I have a friend out there who was very energetically looking for the one who started the fire.
It it was an accident.
The AGA nods. Her teaching has gone well here. Now this little Alan's gonna be like, steals your entire coin purse. It was an accident. How old are you?
I am 32.
Stabs you. It was an accident.
Izzy just nods. I've never met anyone like you.
I am rare, I think, around here.
Me too.
How old are you?
You can't ask me, the player, that. Angie is in her low 20s.
I
Where
believe
is
so.
it?
Yeah, that sounds right. Gives accurate answers sufficient enough for me.
I know it's in here somewhere, but low 20s, but more specific.
Roll
Okay.
for it.
Yeah. Roll
I
history to
can't see
remember
the
your own age.
characters. You've locked me out of seeing the characters, and I think that's where I am.
Wait, what?
In the OneNote.
Oh,
I guess her age might be in the roll 20.
or it's on your D&D Beyond.
That's sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. I don't words. She's 22.
Okay.
There we go. Ayeshiei says she is 22, very accurately and without having to think about it for a long time.
Uh, uh, the Owlin does not like a fully disconcerting head rotation, but like slightly more than, like, imagine, when somebody's confused or like a puppy's confused and they tilt their head. Like they do that, but then go about 3 degrees extra to where it's just a little bit weird. Is that normal for you? Is that young for you?
My people can live up to 100 sometimes, but usually 80 or 90.
Good. Will he wake up soon?
Ayeshiei will assess. She'll stop her rummaging and she'll go over and poke at him.
Okay, make a.
Also, real quick, I have a question about the owlin. Is it very much like an owl where it cannot move its eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So its eyes are fixed in this dead straight ahead position.
Yes.
And his head just
Cool.
slowly follows her.
Yup.
Probably feels like I'm being hunted, but Yeshiei kind of might be used to that with all the sores she's dealt with. She's like, it feels like home.
Fair. Fair enough. Yeah. Go ahead and make a medicine
Medicine?
check. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's better than I thought it was going to be. It almost landed on like a 3.
Uh, I mean, he's fairly stable. It whether or not he fully comes to consciousness unassisted anytime soon is there's no great way to determine, but you can't really find anything that would prevent him from doing so whenever his mind and body kind of sync back up. So it feasibly, yes, he could. There's nothing to delay him other than his own natural recovery.
Okay. I don't think we ended up dumping all of Yejie's water. I don't think anyone rummaged through her bag to do that.
I don't think so, no. They used Ron's.
So, yeah, so she'll go ahead and grab a water skin out and just like dribble a little, like tilt their head up, open mouth very slightly, mostly moistening the lips and the mouth, not really trying to get them to drink, just like
Just pour it
seeing if
through his
that
cheek.
sensation. That's true. Seeing
Yeah.
if that sensation might like help wake him up a little or like bring him back to consciousness.
Okay. Yeah. Good call. In case, just for those who forgot, players or chat,
I totally didn't.
yeah, this Goliath, one side of his face is severely like marred, including like the up half of his upper lip and like the corner of his mouth are just like missing. And this is healed. This is an old wound, but so like you can just see teeth. Like his mouth is permanently partially open, more or less. So that was the just pour it through his cheek. I think that Possum was going
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
including like that. That's on the left side of his face. His eye on that side is also like grayed out and blind. He's got a few other scars and marks, and they're all old. So this guy's just he's I believe he was described as being built like a warrior, and he was in armor, so it just kind of fits the bill. He's seen some stuff. But as you pour the water just kind of gently around, you do start to get like he does start to kind of move his mouth and lick his lips a little. He doesn't wake up, but he is being responsive. And with your medicine check, you feel pretty confident that he would wake up fairly soon if he's responding to a subtle external stimuli like that.
Mhm.
Short of like, you know, chucking a bucket of water on his face or gently pouring water into his mouth with the intent of trying to get him to drink. So
Yeah.
probably not very long.
So Yejie will report that, starting with, well, he's not in a coma. And I think he'll wake up somewhat soon. I can't say for certain. I'm not a doctor or a shaman, but he seems like he's on the road to recovery quite quickly.
What are you?
I'm Fjolkeen. I am similar to your friend here. I actually have a brother who's a Goliath.
Oh,
Uh, and she abruptly changes and asks you the next question in Giant and asks,
do you speak that language?
I do,
That
in Giant.
that is all he speaks. He does not
Well,
know
then it's a good
common.
thing I'm the one in here.
Well, I also speak it.
she
That's
says
true, but it's
in
hard.
Giant.
Indeed, that's true, but it can be hard to translate when you're trying to get medical history.
Yes. I I can watch him if you need to help.
Yejie doesn't really want to go back in the fire, but she will go back to her work. If you can keep an eye on him and let me know if he starts waking up, I'm going to try to find a way to make some salves to just help with recovery for both you and my friends.
Okay. What is your name?
Ah, my name is Ayejie. What is your name?
Shoko.
Shoko ish.
Shoco.
Okay. I just want to make sure I heard an sh, not a ch there.
Yes,
Thank you.
if I can spell. There we go. It is in the chat for you.
And what is your friend's name?
I always get it wrong in my head because I bounced a few back and forth.
His name is Varkon.
Would Ayejie be able to know what region he might be from based on his name?
Make a history check.
History. It would help if I read the words.
From what you would recognize Varkon as a fairly traditional Goliath name, meaning traditional being primarily still used in the crown, not necessarily where you're from. But particularly, you would know that that is associated with a section of the crown that is far to the east from the section you grew up near.
Okay.
Not not necessarily that you would know for certain exactly where, but quite a ways away.
Yeah, I just wanted general vibes.
Mhm.
And I will let us get to the other party members. I have plenty of questions I could ask this Owlin, but I'm sure we could also just ask them once everyone's awake and inside.
Fair. All right, those of you outside, if memory serves, you were wetting blankets and such using control flames or similar spells to douse small sections of the fire and keep it from spreading backwards towards you, which by this point is a lot easier because a lot of the fuel that the fire would have consumed to crawl backward towards this building you're trying to keep safe has already been burned and then snuffed. So it doesn't have a lot of natural momentum to come back. So anything else you want to try and prevent the fire from doing is going to be harder because it is trying to still spread across the wall of the cavern that's covered in these giant mushrooms. It has made its way down to the ground in most of this section since it started higher up. But with you guys doing what you're doing, you're pretty well situated to just let it go and it will burn away from you. If you want to try and keep it from spreading in the other direction too, you can, but that's going to be a lot harder. So I don't know what you guys would want to do. Or are you just content to let this progress in the other direction and just wait?
I'm gonna cast Fireball.
Hey, bad. No.
I've heard this saying, fighting fire with fire.
If I burn everything down, the fire can't spread.
Exactly. You're picking up what I'm putting down.
That's one way to manage fuels, I suppose.
Yep.
um,
I'd like to check out that other building, see if there's anything or anyone over there yet.
Mm.
We could always dig a fire break to make sure that nothing comes back towards this building.
uh,
Sure. Uh, I am particularly susceptible to fire. No offense intended to either of you, Ron says, but I think it's probably better if I stay here. I don't know, Nemo, if you'd want to stay or go, but y'all do what you want to do. I'll make sure nothing comes back. I think I can manage it decent enough on my own for now, unless something changes, but I'll make enough noise. You'll know if something changes.
yeah. Um, yeah. If you think you can handle it by yourself, just holler if it hurts you.
Will do.
Firefighters.
Yeah. So at that point, I'd like to just kind of extinguishing as I go to make a path, go over to investigate this building over here.
Okay. As you manage that, I'll go ahead and move you over here. Nemo, were you going to tag along?
Yeah.
Okay. As you do, this wall of this building facing you is actively burning, and it is burning not just the lower part of the wall that is this giant mushroom stem, but it's up and onto the cap of this giant mushroom. I'm not sure if you as players remember, but Cole, you determined this is probably where the fire was started. So it's
Yep.
been burning the longest and the hottest.
Let's check inside, see if there's any survivors. This one might be too far gone.
Do we let it burn in that case?
We'll assess to see if any fire's on the inside.
Okay.
All right.
After you.
Okay, so as you go up, I'm gonna force move you. Just I'm not sure how obvious the door comes through, but Cole, you were standing in front of the door. Um, the door isn't barred or anything, so you can just walk on in there, and there is one dead myconid on the ground that is very badly charred, and the entire southern portion of this building is up in flames on both sides of the wall. So putting this out is probably going to take water or magics you don't have access to.
Gotcha.
Unless you get real creative, in which case please let me know your plan.
Gotcha. The building's lost. Do you think we should move the body?
Yes.
All right. We can carry it outside, place it somewhere in the block.
Okay. And they move the body out.
Okay. I can do something for that. Okay, and we'll just set them right there.
Uh, and after that, I don't. In order to try and keep this fire from spreading, I think we try and dig a fire line or a fire break just around the circumference of this building so it doesn't spread outward. It could still spread up.
It's already up pretty
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
But just trying to keep it from spreading out.
Yeah, fair. Um in that case, do you have any digging implements with you, or are you just gonna do it by hand?
Well,
Because
I was thinking of fire bolting, letting a small controlled burn happen, and then shuffling it out or snuffing it out.
okay,
Couple feet by couple feet. That way, we turn it to a black, it won't reignite.
okay, yeah, fair enough. It'll take a few minutes of doing it that way, but yeah, you definitely can.
Yep.
Um, by the time you're done with that, you can kind of catch a glimpse of this area back behind you.
Yeah.
Because the fire that's here was mostly low on the ground, burning moss, more or less. It's not really grass down here, but it's more of just like a blanket of moss anywhere that's green on the map. It was mostly like a creeping burn of that along the stuff growing on the ground. It was pretty bright and hot when you first got in here, but it has since kind of smoldered out. It wasn't able to gain the same momentum as the two other sections you've seen. And you would see over here in this kind of burnt out clearing, there is one myconid that looks an awful lot like the rancher that you met before that directed you to come here. Very similar in size, structure, like whatever sort of fungal, if there is just a non-sentient fungus species that they might sort of represent or like look similar to, looks like they're probably based off of the same species. Pretty uncanny appearance, except for this one is mostly blackened and smoking. But next to it is a hook horror. Ron pointed some of these out to you earlier in your trips, but you didn't interact with any. Um, but these are a large size monstrosity that are a very unsettling thing to look at. And it's also just dead and crispy on the ground. For whatever reason, it's in here. There's not really anything straight off the bat to explain why, other than you guys got the impression these are fairly common predators down here underground. So unless it was also here attacking or they just keep one around, there's not really a good explanation. But it's here, so you can see what's left of it up close.
Huh.
And I would like to think, like, if Nemo, well, who do you think saw it first?
Who has the better passive perception?
Neither one of us, I think.
Well,
Well,
none of
mine's
them are
at
good,
11.
but relative.
I'm at
Uh,
11 for passive.
I got a 10. Oh, yeah.
all right, so Cole probably would have noticed it first. All
That
right.
smoke is moving.
It is. That's me fussing with it to update what you're seeing in the situation, since I
Okay.
described it as being a little bit different. Okay, there you go. Lots of smoke, but a lot less fire.
Yep. Well, now that we got the fire over here contained, we were gonna move that way anyway to kind of put out the rest of that creeping fire.
Okay.
And we can investigate the bodies once the fire's out.
Okay. Yeah, so you can go, I assume, just on your same sort of established methods of keeping the fire from spreading anywhere, either lighting up a line of fuel just ahead of it, or since it's kind of fizzling out now, just kind of thaumaturging or extinguishing it with magic.
Yep.
Okay. That works a lot better here than it has anywhere else so far. So that is not too long of a process. It only takes a minute or two. But yeah, there's just the one myconid and the one monster that are dead there. So if you guys are wanting to look any of that over, feel free to, but it will be a check.
Yep.
Um,
I'm curious, especially if I'm gonna have to fight one of these things.
Nemo would be like at least 5 feet behind him.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna kind of manipulate and poke, just try and figure out its anatomy, get a good look at its hooks, its teeth, all that jazz.
All right.
Maybe you should find a stick to poke it with.
But how does it smell?
Crispy.
Extra crispy.
Cole's familiar with the smell of burnt flesh.
But this is
Fair.
different flesh.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Do you want an investigation or?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do an investigation, and I will go ahead and put an image of the actual creature into Roll20 chat for you so you can see what it looks like not from a top-down token view.
Yep. Yep, that is a nice little beastie.
They're fun. I think they're neat.
Well,
Okay, well, it makes sense why they're called a hook horror, because man, do they got hooks. Um, it's just a large-sized little guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just a little monstrosity.
Yeah.
Just a little monster.
So between the talons on its feet, the hooks that it has for hands, and the beak that it has, this thing is absolutely built to be a very intimidating and capable predator. Like everything about this screams, I'm going to eviscerate anything I come across. In addition to, it's hard to tell in the image, you can kind of see it better on the token, but its back is a large, like, carapace shell, sort of, almost like it has a giant. Think Kabuto, Gen 1 Pokemon fossil Kabuto shape kind of shell on its back that's just hard like a beetle shell, but proportionate to a creature this size.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to have a pretty decent natural set of defenses as well. But as far as anything more than that telling you what it's doing here, there's really not a lot to go on except for the fact that the myconid near it is not cut to shreds. The myconid looks like it pretty much just died from burning. So it must not have been attacked, probably. So this thing was probably not here randomly. They may have had it around for some reason, would probably be the best idea of any conclusion to draw from what you're able to see.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find a collar on it or anything.
It says princess.
Yeah.
You just find its whole resume and like a dossier.
Yeah.
Card with its LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, once Carl kind of finishes, he's gonna brush his hands off and stand up. Well, definitely a formidable predator. Luckily, it's affected by flames, so we'll be okay.
You think? Well, here's the thing is,
It'll still burn. Clearly.
I mean, but like, how long did it have to roast?
Cole shrugged. Keep walking.
Nice talk. Great talk. Yeah.
Okay. Where where would you guys like to go next?
Uh,
Or are you about
Cole's gonna
done?
want to. He's gonna want to finish his perimeter walk.
Okay.
Um, so kind of check out this little clearing. Looks like there's some fire to put out right there. That
Uh,
should
that has
maybe
since
handle a bit.
burned out.
Oh, okay.
That little controlled campfire, that's part of the map. I cannot change that, but it was like a small camp or cooking fire, but it's not actually lit right now.
Okay.
Uh, but
But
but there is this little table right here that it does have some equipment on it that doesn't seem necessarily like equipment you would expect myconids to be using.
let's take a look. See.
Okay. You do find there's an axe on the table. There's a rucksack on the ground nearby. There's a spear and like a not a single javelin, but like a kind of a back quiver is what it looks like for arrows, but it's bigger and stuffed with a few javelins. And you notice that this room up here, just to the north of that is behind like this vine wall, it really kind of looks like it might be a holding cell or like a containment area, and there's a small hole in the very bottom of it that looks like it's been cut very crudely. Not really enough that somebody would be able to easily squeeze through there. If they would, it'd be very difficult, and if not impossible, or it would be really uncomfortable and probably cause some bodily harm. But it's a fairly small hole that some of the vines that the quote unquote vines, they're really like giant mycelia, but they've been very crudely like snapped or ripped or cut to make a just big enough little gap for something in the very bottom. And there's no one or nothing in there.
Cole's gonna turn and gesture, pointing at the hole. Would your tweet fit through that?
First of all, I said it was a chirp chirp, and I think so.
And third of all, it was established to be a hoot hoot.
Yeah, but I don't think she knows yet.
Yeah, we don't know that. I don't
Fair.
know.
Nemo
Did he
still.
evolve to an octal? He's 32.
Yeah, buddy. Excellent. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Um, Nemo, with that in mind, possibly. It would probably still be a small squeeze, even for your tweet tweet chirp chirp hoot hoot halfling sized friend. But it's a lot more feasible there than it is for, you know, one of you guys or somebody like the Goliath or a Yejeye size, certainly, to maybe squeeze through.
Possibly.
Hmm.
And
But
keep
you
in
need to
mind,
agree that it's a chirp chirp.
you did find them both on the ground just outside this little clearing when you guys first arrived.
Yep. Gesturing to the javelins and stuff. That probably belongs to our Goliath friend.
Yeah. Well, it cut off his armor, so if they turn out to be enemies, at least we have that going for us.
Which is nice.
We'll wait to pass any judgment until our Myconid shepherd returns.
Yeah. What are we gonna do when he does?
Explain. Hope he's willing to listen and not see the flames and attack the first thing he sees.
Okay. Because I was thinking about moving the bodies together.
We could do that.
And then we
I
can
just
ask them
don't
about
know.
barrier rights.
Yep. I don't know for their culture if what would be the most respectful.
Um, I mean, we already started moving a couple. Um, I feel like it'd just be maybe better. We could put them all in one spot, so then if he has any barrier rights he likes to do, at least they're all together.
Let's finish, return to the main hut and just finish putting a line of black around the other fire, and we can make some decisions.
Okay.
Okay. You guys get back, and Ron uh, has been working on continuing to dig a fire break around ahead of this area as you guys have been doing that, because the whole course of that has taken probably 10 minutes at least.
Mm-hmm.
So he's made some pretty good headway given all the extra space you guys were able to provide with magic of mitigating the spread. So you definitely still can burn uh, a black line around to really kind of reinforce the security. But for the most part, as far as ground spread goes, there's really not a lot left to do unless you're really going to start putting in a like very deliberate amount of work that most of you probably don't even fully know how to do.
I think we're gonna be about as good as we're gonna be then.
Yeah, as long as nothing starts dropping from the ceiling of the cavern, which is still a possibility, but so far nothing that bad has come to pass.
Yep.
But it seems for now, as long as you guys stay low, because up top where you came in, since you came in elevated in the cavern, you'll probably want to stay low for a while because that smoke's going to take a long time to clear out. It's smokier now than it was when you arrived. But down here, you're probably about as safe as you're going to be. So he's just kind of putting the finishing touches and still just using a wet cloak to just thwack hot spots that look like they're starting to try and smolder up into something again.
Ron, do you want to take that break now?
I suppose. Sure.
Cole's gonna examine his handiwork. Looks good. Thanks for tackling this while we search the perimeter.
Not much else to do. I'm gonna go sit, I think.
Okay.
And he's just
Yeah,
gonna
if
walk back into the building and pop a squat.
yeah, and if there's any other like stray things on the ground, Cole will clean them up before heading back over, and he's gonna kind of he might sit inside, but he's gonna have the door open to keep an eye on things out here.
Okay.
But mostly he might even just kind of relax on the stoop, just with the door open, so he can lean up against something
Okay.
and still participate, but mainly making sure the fire stays under control.
Fair enough.
When Nemo goes back in, or like takes a peek, she sees the owlet and it has like basically the infernal equivalent of like Galindo, and she like excuses herself back outside. And all Cole sees her is like against here. Hold on, like against here, like muttering to herself, like that's a person, not a pet. A person, not a pet.
Oh, correct.
Yeshia inevitably sees this and just slowly turns and goes back to her work.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeah, so as you guys kind of come back, reconvene, and whatnot, uh, the Owlin will hop down and trot over and poke their head out and look at both of you and just go, "What are your names?"
Uh, Cole is really interested to see uh, uh, the reaction uh, or how our friend here is going to be able to talk with this creature. So he's gonna look over and kind of smirk before answering.
I think Neil's just gonna like freeze and just like stare at this owlet. And like you see her like clutching her fists and letting them go, and then clutching her fists again and then letting them go. She
uh,
has cutest aggression.
shaking his head, um, Cole's gonna look back. Cole, and you are?
My name is Shoko. Shoko Athene.
So what happened here?
My friend and I were captured. They were going to kill us, so I tried to get us free, but the fire happened. It was an accident.
I coached
Stabs
them
you.
so well.
Stabs you. It was an accident.
Can you explain how the fire started?
I was trying to get some of my things back from one of the people in the village, and they did not want to give it back. And so there was a not a fight, but the, there was a fire that was knocked over on accident in the other building, the other house. And then it went out of control. I tried to get my friend free, and everyone else, it would seem, was killed as the fire spread. He is very big, and I am not, so I could not do very much very quickly. But they were going to kill us. Do not expect me to be very sad.
And with
Why
that,
were you
they just leave.
imprisoned?
They just walk back inside and pop a squat on the bed.
Oh.
They they said I'm essentially I'm not fucking sorry, and went back in and sat down, sitting on the
Well,
edge of the bed, kicking their feet a little bit.
aren't they
I,
an adorable little pyromaniac? Accidental pyromaniac.
the SGA will ask Choco, so you met my friends?
I met one.
Were they not all out there?
They are there.
Did
I only know
Ron
Cole's
not
name.
did Ron not introduce himself? Did Choco not ask Ron?
Ron was kind of loosely included in the "What are your names?" but Ron didn't answer.
Okay, fair. The SGA nods. Cole is the one who was very interested in how the fire started.
He asked, so I told him.
She goes back to work. She just likes chatting occasionally.
As you do, and Shoko resumes their seat on the edge of the bed. The Goliath groans and shifts a little bit, but he does open his eyes and just looks at the ceiling and goes, ugh, 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 and like rolls over like he wants 5 more minutes, and not like he wasn't just in an injury coma.
The SGA said it wasn't a coma.
Indeed. Uh,
She could have lied.
and Shoko immediately starts uh like chittering at him in what is definitely a combination of sounds that does not sound like any language any of you have ever heard before, but is definitely complex enough between chittering and some more quote unquote regular humanoid speech sounds mixed in to be a language, but it must be whatever Owlins speak natively in wherever part of the world Shoko comes from. And the Goliath seems to understand it, even though Shoko said he only speaks giant. But
Yeah, he's
but he
not speaking this.
exactly. But he does respond and like begrudgingly rolls over and sits up. And he sees a Yejiye and his eyes go kind of wide and he goes, "Who are you? You you are what are you?"
Oh.
Yejier gives Shoko a little like, see, I told you I'm rare in these parts, like eyebrow lift before turning back to Varkon, and I'm a Yejier Loten. I'm Loten. I'm Fjolkin.
And
And
that, oh, you are you are a Matavian.
she nods.
I have heard of you.
Me?
No, you Matavians. I have heard of
Ah,
you.
I've heard of you Goliaths. We also have them there.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Well, who would think two of us would be underneath everything so far, huh? And he unexpectedly just whips an arm out and claps Ayegie on the shoulder like he just made a joke. And
Yejier
he
will
immediately starts coughing, but he does it anyway.
Yejier chuckles, and as she grabs her water to hand over to him, well, they did say that at least you're made of mountain.
Maybe once. And he takes the water and just chugs it. Like it he drains it.
Yeah, she knew that was a risk.
Most of it stays in his mouth. For how fast and like uncontrolled he is just swilling this down. Some of it does kind of splash out the side, and he seems to like catch it eventually and try and like cover that damaged part of his mouth. And he looks a little sheepish, like he's mildly embarrassed about it, but he still drinks all of your water.
Uh, your friend told me a little bit of what happened, but why are you both down here?
I work for Shoko.
So Yejier will turn to Shoko.
We are looking in the old places. I am um I am an an historian. I like to learn about the past. And so we are here
Shoko's
to learn.
Shoko might regret saying that because Yejier's eyes light up. I'm here to try to find ingredients that could help my people be more resistant to or stay safe from an ancient illness that I've heard is coming back to these lands. Do you know much about the crown and Goliaths?
A quick question.
Mhm.
While Cole's dropping his eaves, could he try an insight check against the Owlin?
Sure.
For he's a historian.
Sure.
Because
Oh, I'm
right now
sorry,
he doesn't trust him.
he's a hoot storian.
Oh, excuse me.
Or she? Shoko's a she?
Uh,
Yes.
it hasn't quite actually been figured out, but uh, you'll eventually learn through any further prolonged interactions. Shoko is female. Shoko is a she.
Yeah, because you had referred to Shoko in the feminine,
Yes.
so.
Uh, let me. So
Ugh.
sorry. What were you trying to determine, Cole, with your insight check?
Trying to figure out if he was being honest with the historian.
Struggle.
Um. Yeah, you get the sense that there might be a little bit more to it than that, but Shoko definitely says the word historian with a confidence and a pride that somebody academic in a particular field of study while they are in the field of their study, it would make sense for them to have if they're getting to sort of like explain what they're about and why they're in a weird place. There
Okay.
definitely seems like there might be more to it than that, but she definitely seems comfortable enough to say that she's an historian to like probably field questions or like tests if you have any.
Gotcha.
Ayeshi's question will also be vaguely directed to Vacron?
Varkon?
Varkon. Yeah, I just got my R and K mixed up.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what was the question?
She got real excited and asked if they knew much about Goliath's history and the crown, because she had mentioned an ancient disease, an ancient illness that she's trying to find ingredients to combat.
Do you mean the mind rot?
She nods, no hesitation, excitedly. That's what my people call it. It is said to have wiped out many, if not all, of the Goliaths in the crown.
Not all, but many, yes.
She settled in like a kindergartner for story time.
There are many who have survived, but from avoidance, not endurance. My people have not been hit, but I know many who have.
Is this in the past, or have they been affected recently?
The last 2, 3 years.
She she's not happy about that news. They would very clearly see like her face fall, and she like looks to her bag of alchemy supplies, and you can tell she's feeling not too excited about that news.
If you are working to find a fix, a cure, then of course, perhaps we can work together once we are out of this place.
She nods again. I guess that would be a conversation for another time. But she's like buzzing with excitement, vibrating with it.
What are you doing here?
Well, I've been hired to find something in these caverns, in these ruins, but honestly, I'm just here looking for supplies. I just needed an excuse and someone to pay my way.
What
Uh,
ruins?
Cole's gonna chuckle at that.
He needs a sugar mama for someone to get her mushrooms.
Which, which, for what it's worth, I suppose I didn't clarify. Yes, Shoko did ask this in common, but the entire conversation up to that point has been in giant. So
Yeah.
those of you
I
eavesdropping wouldn't pick up, but Shoko did ask about why you're here in common.
okay. I was figuring that conversation between Choco and the Yejie were in common, and everything else was not understandable.
Uh, no, Shoko was speaking in giant
Oh,
Until
okay.
now.
until now.
Okay.
So feel free to jump in for that point as much as you guys would like. If you're eavesdropping in now that the cavern is slightly less uproarious outside.
And Shoko's question was, what are we looking for?
What are you doing here? Yeah. Um,
Well, then Iegie said that they're looking for something in the ruins.
oh yeah.
But she's actually just here for the mushrooms.
And you are looking for what ruins?
Well, further towards the surface, there's many ruins of old cities, or maybe not cities, I guess, of old civilization. And there's a town just outside it called Darbaton. And they have many people come into the ruins to try to find artifacts or priceless goods. And we were hired to go Find something that has not yet been found that our employer suspects is down here somewhere. But we've been told there's ruins further beyond the Crystal Lake, which is just, she motions the direction that way.
Cole's gonna kind of turn and look over at Shoko. Have you not passed any ruins? You didn't come from Darviton then.
No. We came from somewhere else, but I think we are looking for the same place.
How did you get down here? What path did you take?
We came in from the...
She stops and thinks.
I think the far east side of the lake. We did not come from the Midlands.
Which would jump out to all three of you. The Midlands is an outdated term. Nobody uses the term Midlands anymore. What she's referring to is the fringe. But
Shoko's a historian.
nobody since the end of the Old Empire's war, except for like some of the Beridian elves who were alive during that time 300 years ago, call the fringe the Midlands. So
Full suspicion, Stephen.
But no, we came from the east. Far, far to the east. And we came underground, and we have seen many ruins. But I think they are not the same ones you have seen. But I think we look for the same place. But we also looked for a particular set of ruins near the Crystal Lake. And that was how we were found by the Myconids.
Are you looking for a specific thing there, or you just want to study the history?
Mostly I want to study the history. I hear it is an old temple. I would like to know what is left. The library I work for does not have very much information on this sort of temple from this time period. So I was hoping to find it.
And do you know why the Myconids attacked you? We encountered some, and we've heard that they're dangerous, but they didn't attack us on sight.
They didn't attack us, but they threatened us and said we needed to come here. And then they imprisoned us.
ASJ doesn't have much to say about that. She's like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. We were also told we had to come here.
But I think the permission is not very important anymore. Would you like to go together? It might be safer.
Leaving that decision up to other party members. Angia has no strong thoughts, but she will want to hang out with these people.
okay. You guys can take a minute to confer and gather your thoughts and process all this information. But let's go ahead and take like a 5-minute break. Get your water, get your bathroom trips, do whatever you got to do before we IRL move on. Feel free to, if you're not going anywhere, stay put while we take a break. But I could stand a bathroom trip. So we'll go ahead and be back in like 5 minutes. Sound good?
10-4.
Okay. We'll be back. Thanks. All right, friends. Some fun, new, exciting stuff. Some maybe new friends, maybe new suspicious companions, maybe none of those things. I don't know. But it is time for a wellness break, and y'all know what that means. Do some wellness for yourself. Whatever that needs to take, whatever's convenient and good and meaningful for you. Dear Sweet Millie is still capable of finding out if you're not taking care of yourself, and we don't want that. So do whatever you got to do. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We'll run 3 minutes of ads, and we will get right back to the good conversations as soon as that's done. We'll see you then. everybody. I hope you had a good wellness break. Let's see, let's catch up on chat. Oh, thank you, Carl. I did not realize that a bag in which javelins or pylons are contained is called a sarcina? Sarkina? I think sarcina? I don't know. I didn't know that. Thank you. That is, according to Roman history lore, I appreciate that Roman history lore. Thank you. That is a very good term for me to know, having a character that uses one. So I appreciate that, Carl. Thank you very much. Sounds like a good Robin Williams impression in Mrs. Doubtfire. That's not what I was going for, but I appreciate it. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so some fun new characters, I hope, that at least the Yejier seems to be very excited to interact with. So let's see how they get along moving forward. We'll go ahead and hop right back into it. Perhaps, if I can get things going.
This computer will make it through the next set.
Okie dokie. Everybody good? Everybody back, settled in? Ready to go?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Nemo, Cole, anything you guys would like to add to the conversation going on or to each other? Even if that's a rotten egg to the face. This is your chance to express that desire.
I would like to think at some point during the conversation, like the best they can actually understand. Like Nemo gives Cole a look like we're not the only ones looking for it.
And he's gonna subtly nod. In Infernal, Cole's gonna ask Nemo a question.
Should
They could be valuable, but if they're looking for the same thing, that might be a problem. If we also find a room full of things, they might be loose ends.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on cutting Brown the prize, buddy. See this? He hasn't let us die yet. But that would be more fair. But I can't. I don't think I could ask for enough money for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people.
Doing math again, our worst enemy.
We choose an unfortunate hobby for people who either are not good at or don't like doing math.
Hey,
I like math. I'm just tired.
Yeah, don't generalize us all like that. I
You
paid
like
a lot
math?
of money to be good at math.
That's fair, you did. You very much did. Surrounded by smart
Surrounded by math holes.
you right? Oh, goodness. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt your conversation.
No, you're fine.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. Cole's gonna elaborate. Regardless, we'd only pay Ron additional for his assistance. None of them are a part of this contract.
That's also supposed to be a part. Someone outside, like whoever's wanting this, also an enemy.
That's what gives me pause.
You can always charge double on it.
The other thing to consider is the fire doesn't look like it burnt all these myconids. It killed the rest.
Well, if the Falcon wasn't just to die, do you think we would have been any more merciful?
Perhaps. There's a reason that I chose to stay and defend the shepherd. It would put us in their good graces. But were the roles reversed, it's hard to say we wouldn't do a similar thing.
I'm glad we understand each other. And she like pats his shoulder.
Let's confer with Yejiye before graciously accepting their offer.
Do you think Ron has a voice in the matter too? Because he is the one protected. And if he's gonna have to watch his shoulder for them too, well, you know what I mean. I can't talk.
He's
Turns out Nemo actually doesn't know Infernal. She's just winging it.
Oh goodness.
She had to speak common for so long that like it's starting to like mingle.
She's speaking
como
the
se
Infernal
dice,
Common. I was gonna say she's speaking like Spanglish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Well, I don't like
No,
that I
I'm
heard
gonna
a
worry about
roll.
it.
DM just clacking dice behind the screen. It's all good. Carry on.
That's fine.
Well, I guess you confer with the Ron. I will. Wait, have they? I forget now. Have they put the bodies together, or did we leave them?
We have left them.
Because we were gonna reconvene here for a minute, and then you were gonna do it afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Feel free to reconvene.
Team huddle.
Yep. Yejiye, a word.
She'll plod over. I was gonna say trot, but she's not really the trotting type. She seems the plodding type.
That's fair.
Yep. Cole's gonna kind of tilt his head, indicating we're gonna take a walk outside.
So smoky out there.
Yes, Yejiye, your fur is going to be so insect repellent for so long. With all that smoke just sunk in
I'll be the best hunter. No one will be able to find my scent.
But Cole will shut the door behind us, and we'll walk down over here a little ways.
Move my token as necessary.
What is that hearing?
Owls do have a surprisingly good hearing.
Oh, make a pudding sound. See if that was fun.
Cole says a slur in Owlin.
Alright, we'll walk to the other side, over near the crackling flames. So, reconvene over here.
Did you just not want a hoot?
Correct.
He doesn't give a hoot.
I was gonna say it if nobody else did. Thank you.
What are your thoughts?
A lot of Myconids died. The Sovereign's dead, and I don't think the Shepherd will be too excited when he comes back.
Do you agree?
Correct. They were hard to tell without having any more contact than the shepherd. But the shepherd was amiable. They must have done or said something that did not sit well with the sovereign. So they had this fire, and whatever the fire didn't destroy, they killed.
How do you know?
He admitted that. The
He told
Owlin
me that
that's-
the fire killed everything.
not all of these corpses are burnt.
Has Aegia seen any of the non-burnt corpses? They had wounds on them? Because, let me tell you, this smoke inhalation could probably kill me, she says, looking at all the smoke.
I don't know if myconids breathe.
And you don't know how they react to heat either. So did you see wounds that were obviously caused by weapons or magic?
The Owlin said they broke into a struggle, and it was pretty much them or the myconids, and they were not sorry for what they did.
Yejie's gonna think for a minute. If I was in a situation where you two were in trouble and I was in trouble, and we were going to die because of it, I'm not sure I would be upset about the deaths of the others either.
Right. We felt similarly. I'm just wanting you to be aware of the situation. More concerning is what they're after. If they happen to be looking for the same object we are, or if there happens to be more around the object that we have to deal with, that could potentially cause problems with the contract we have been assigned.
Yejie, the lovely, naive girl she is, they just wanted to see the ruins, maybe explore them.
They say mostly that was why they got him. And there's more.
If he is a historian,
She,
studying and then taking any artifacts back to his library is probably
Her.
also library is probably also on the table. Maybe even funded by. For the most part, could be harmless. But
well, if you're afraid that they're a competitor, wouldn't you want to get knowledge on them?
As long as they
Either
can
that-
overpower them in the end. But you saw the size of that guy?
Yejie is just gonna look at herself also.
To be fair, they are the same size.
one of them
Yejie's
is a
arms are
frontline
longer.
fighter because we're a fucking party of mid-range.
And you like pulls her arms out like why? She's like, but you're a Yoshie, you're on our side. I don't want somebody that big on their side.
Well,
Valid
they
argument.
have knowledge that I need.
I'll put it this way. We can use them, and we can travel with them. However, if there becomes a conflict of interests, we'll have to deal with that problem then.
Your mission is not more important than mine.
I'm referring to our contract,
Yeah, I don't need paid.
which is all the same. Any extracurriculars you have outside of that? Unrelated.
Mm, I don't think that Wargstride's mission is more important than my own. It just so happened that her location aligned with mine. Now I'm insulting your celebrity crush.
Yeah. Well, you're not insulting the crush so much as just not caring to work for her.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think it's an honor to work for Wargstride. I think she's cool, but her mission's not more important than my own. I don't even know why they want what they want. For all I know, it could be harmful. I know why I want what I want.
Cole's gonna turn to Nemo and in Infernal say, "This is the problem with non-pact members. They don't understand." Jeez, my brain just locked up.
Ah! He's forgetting Infernal too.
I know.
Nemo's contagious.
Yejie
What's
has a
the
new
word?
disease to study.
Yeah, not task or hit, but or assignments. But I'm trying to. That's what
Mark?
I'm thinking of. Almost, but like, not quests, but this is a job we took. Yeah.
Yeah.
Project oriented.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't understand the business behind a job or how that affects reputation.
I'm part of the pack, and I'm a little worried about what this thing is.
He's gonna turn back to a Yejie.
Yejiye does have her arms crossed with an eyebrow lifted. She knows you were very obviously talking about something she said or her. So, not saying you won any brownie points there, bud.
Oh yeah, there is no hiding that. I was directly making a comment. So we travel with them, and sounds like we'll see where that goes.
If you're someone who's so sure that you want to do a path of pacifism like you did with the Myconids, I'm sure you'll find a way that's not killing them if it comes to conflict, she says before just turning around and leaving.
Wait! I cut up his arm!
Cole's gonna look to Nemo. Did she just assume I'm a pacifist?
I mean, you made friends with him and then this shepherd.
We made friends with literally creatures we were warned are like really bad.
These people.
Yeah.
Ulf, they're killing me. They have no idea what subtlety is. What fucking strategic. Oh my god. You're
Yejiye has one thing
killing
on her
me!
mind, and it's
You're
mushrooms,
killing me!
okay?
Oh my god.
And then to rub salt into the wound. Neo's gonna pat his shoulder again. She's like, see, I knew you were a good guy who wants to make friends. And then skeeters off before he can do anything.
Cole's gonna kick the nearest fucking mushroom, swearing an infernal, and going, fucking no subtlety. These people don't understand the point of playing both sides, how to keep their heads low. Fucking flaunting in the open, fraternizing, not worrying about the fucking mark. That's all an infernal.
You think a Yejiye can keep her head low? She's 7 feet tall!
Oh my goodness. Ah, yeah.
Cole's gonna cool off for a while.
Okay, let him smolder, folks.
Eh.
Yeah, this is gonna go great. This party dynamic is flawless.
And if a Yejiye dies, I'm coming back as a tiefling rogue.
Noted.
Packed party, packed party.
Nah, she's not even gonna be packed. That's gonna be the best thing.
No!
She's gonna be like a tiefling rogue, but she's gonna be a packed hunter,
Oh.
No!
Oh no.
hired by the university.
No!
I heard
Cole, what
Talmage
about that
likes
subtlety
killing
that
packed
they
people.
play both sides?
Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is gonna be good. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, Yejiye's all down for traveling with the Owlin and the Goliath so that she can pick their brains, not literally.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so at least two of you head back. And everybody inside is still just hanging out. Shoko and Barcone are having a conversation in... Well, Shoko is having a one-sided conversation. It's happening in the Owlin language. Barcone is giving periodic responses in Giant, but they're few and far between. It's mostly he's being talked at. And Ron is just kind of there, keeping an eye on him. Yejiye, as you step through the door, Ron looks at you and kind of waves you over. And as assuming you take even half
Yep.
a step in this direction, you just pull through. Where the Goliath don't speak common. So if we're gonna be sharing space and all, okay, maybe we can use an interpreter.
Yoshie will nod, and Shoko can as well.
Yeah, yeah. No offense to Shoko, who who heard her name and like looked over. No offense, but I'd like having two people who can be an interpreter when possible, just so you know you can keep each other honest and whatnot. It's an old long time ago bad deal where I wish we had a second someone to make sure somebody was telling the truth with their interpretings. But yeah, just wanted to make sure you knew and were okay with that.
Yoshie nods again.
All right.
We speak the same dialect. His accent is not too different than mine.
I'll take your word on it.
This is where Nemo will take the time to try to collect all the bodies.
'Kay.
In one area.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll take some time, but you definitely can.
Cole will assist.
Okay, about the only one that would give you any sort of anything would be collecting
Would
the
be the sovereign.
from up top,
Yeah.
where it is still really, really smoky. Because the sovereign is heavy. The sovereign
Yeah,
is
so
bulky.
he might stay there.
Fair.
But you can put him with the family.
I mean, you could. You'd have to make a Constitution check to not, you know, breathe in too much smoke up there.
That might be a problem for after the fire dies down.
Yeah, I'll make the Constitution check.
Okay.
Because it matters to her.
Alright, Cole's gonna follow and help.
Check or save?
It'll be a save for Constitution.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're fine. What's smoke? the air has a flavor, and that's about it.
It's like a pita head barbecue.
Cole's smoking his pipe while they do this.
I take control over my lung damage, damn it.
Well, I gotta keep an even keel, that way I can survive in fires.
Weird flex,
I never give
but
him
okay.
I never give him a break.
Fair enough.
So other people are out of breath, it's like, this is my Tuesday.
It's like Olympians training at high altitude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Any particular idea where you were thinking of collecting the bodies? I guess it doesn't ultimately matter all that much, but just so in case it becomes relevant. Okay, good
Yeah.
call. Not have to drag the giant hook horror carcass around.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Nemo's not touching that.
Fair.
So like she doesn't want to be near it, so she like tries to bring them further over here.
Okay. All right. Noted. All right. Cool.
And for the, because we have, was it 3 bodies in the hut over here?
Yes.
Cole will want to investigate the one that was burning that he put out.
Okay.
Because he finds it really odd that in this house there were 2 magnets near the door, and the one near the back was on fire. So just kind of curious if there's any other damage to him besides just being burnt. I'm assuming that's an investigation.
That would absolutely be an investigation.
Yoshie out here making the man
Nuts.
question himself, gaslighting him.
So you look them over, and it is entirely fire damage. There's nothing else about it, and you notice that some of the most notable fire damage on the other two in that building are on their hands and arms. So it looks like they may have pulled the one that was on fire into the building, like possibly to try and save them or help them, and just didn't get very far once they were in the building.
Okay.
Because any other explanation than that doesn't really line up with what you're able to see of their injuries, and you're pretty confident that that's probably what happened.
That was the most confusing one for me.
Fair enough.
Thanks for your help, Cole.
But yes, Ayegie, anything you would like to say or do as you get back in there while your companions are collecting the dead?
Just talking with Ron to see, how he's doing. She says she would offer him water, and she kind of looks over to where her empty water skin is, like, laying on the ground next to the Goliath.
I'm sure there's more somewhere here. I mean, there's gotta be, right? I imagine a plant-based person needs it just as much as we do.
I don't know how much they might have tried to fight the fires before everything got out of control.
That's fair.
But it's no harm in looking when we can.
There was drinking water in our holding cell.
Shoko chimes in.
There was a whole bucket.
I'm assuming I do not see a bucket of water here
Not
in
here.
this house. Indeed, I know the holding cell wasn't here, but
Yeah.
if that place had water, there was a chance that this place had water.
Yeah. No. There are definitely vessels that could have water, jars, buckets, and such, but they're all empty.
When we rejoin after all of our activities.
You were trying.
Oh.
He was gonna go through the shit.
Cole nods in appreciation and heads back in. He gives Nemo a thumbs up. He's gonna just say, well, we all might as well get some sleep. I assume after we've had a chance to rest and recuperate, we can all head out across the lake tomorrow.
Oh. Sorry, this is player. Are we going in the right direction from what the goblins told us? Or do we need to go back to the lake?
You would need to go back to the lake and cross it.
Okay.
The other direction, because you guys
Yep.
came in, imagine like straight down from the north, and then kind of skirted northwest and left northwest. But from what they said, you have to cross, so you would have to go like further south.
Yeah, we redirected in order to get
To the
permission.
Sovereign. Yeah. I'm just not good with directions.
That's
Me,
fair.
not Ayegie. Ayegie is not against the idea. Just mentions, I would put an alarm around us so we knew when the shepherd arrived, but I'm kind of spent.
I can stay awake for a while, Ron says. Well, we can just take shifts. Probably smart, just to make sure no surprises with the fire and all.
Ayegie is going to look a little surprised at this suggestion. She's been traveling alone for so long that she forgot that's an option. That's why she has the spell she has. And she, looks at Ron and goes, Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Well, Ron, if you want to take the first watch, come get me when you get tired. Yeah, I can grab you after that.
Yeah, sure.
He sounds thrilled.
It's guard duty. Who is ever thrilled for guard duty? But he does it. He does kind of poke through and look around to see if there's anything to eat. And he's not super confident in anything he finds, so he doesn't end up actually eating anything except what he can pull out of his pack. But yeah, if you guys wanted to settle in and take a long rest here, you can certainly try.
I would like
think
to.
it's worth it,
Okay.
because I am nearly spent.
Okay. Fair enough.
Using up all my magic on strangers, unfortunately.
It's a you problem.
I mean, everybody you encounter around here is a stranger, so
Oh, got him.
a fairly large likelihood, I would think.
I mean, there's at least 4 people who aren't strangers, which is myself and
fair.
the 3 I'm traveling with,
That's fair.
who I
Fair point.
expected to be using healing spells on, not, an owlet and a Goliath.
Touche. So while you all are settling in, getting ready, Nemo, you're looking through their shit.
Yep.
Up here at the table. Okay. Yeah, you see weapons as described earlier. There's a rucksack that is definitely Goliath-sized. There's a smaller sack kind of tucked underneath the mushroom table that would definitely be Shoko-sized and not Goliath-sized. But that's pretty much all there is that's like searchable, are those 2 packs.
Choco's first.
Okay, make an investigation check
So good.
for looting.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. So in Shoko's pack, you find some pretty basic stuff. You find rations, water, some basic orienteering equipment like compass. You find several bound books, which are expensive things. Like a bound book,
Yeah.
a bound book in 5e costs 25 gold, which is more than the average person makes in a year for several years. So those would be kind of noteworthy. I mean, you're fairly used to seeing them where you're from, but still. And they're pretty like heavy duty, seem like they're intended for travel. Like made to stand up to being in a rucksack out in the elements. None of them are in common or infernal.
I was just gonna say it's too bad she can't read.
I would love to see you say that to Nemo's face.
Well, before she even tries to read, she's gonna like flip through all the pages and see if she can find anything that's loose that could look like a what is it? What are they called? Missives?
Oh yeah.
Like an order?
Yeah. You don't really see anything loose, but definitely you do find that one of these books is some sort of like a journal or diary that is being written probably by Shoko as whatever their journey is underway. Like the most recent couple pages, the ink looks very, very new. So probably just within the last few days. But nothing in there is necessarily super useful. There are like some charts that don't make any sense to you. A few sort of quick, hasty sketches that look like they might be not necessarily like a map, but just like capturing a scene along the journey or like a landscape. It seems mostly like it's documentation of the travel.
comprehend
Expense
language.
report.
Before we're going any further, comprehend language.
Okay. Yeah.
Because fuck you, Cole, she says to herself.
This is her free Cole action. I believe.
Yeah, her free action to insult Cole. Thank you for reminding me we established that's a thing everybody gets.
Mm-hmm.
Once per session. As a free action, everybody gets to diss Cole. Okay, so...
I like that rule. It's fun.
I do too. So, comprehend language. You get your spell up, and all of the text remains as it is. But you're able to see it and make sense of it as if you spoke the language it was written in, even though you don't. And it's just a very sudden and thorough, like, confident knowledge, because this magic can't fail. So anything you glean from this, you know is accurate. It's not like the spell can misfire. That's not really a thing you've ever known to happen with something like this. And what you see in this book are largely just like a travel journal of the things they've come across on their journey. Particularly, you get a sense of the route they took to get here, at least above ground, and where they entered into the Everdark and the tunnels underneath that eventually led them here, and it was a long-ass ways away. Significantly. Like, they entered the subterranean part of their journey on the other side of Barrett Hold. Like, not in Barrett Hold, past it. Which is, you know, a whole nation away and then some. So they entered, there's a section of the world just past Barrett Hold to the east that in the Old War, when Barrett Hold had its grand imperial holdings, much of this region was part of the empire that collapsed and they lost it. But this part of the world is called Misty Vale. And they reference a place in Misty Vale called Heaven's Bridge that references some mountains that are apparently just riddled with caverns and tunnels. And you see some notes about some weird priests in Heaven's Bridge, but you don't really get a ton of context other than Shoko did not enjoy dealing with them. Essentially just because she thought they were just weird and out, just kind of crazy, or like preaching nonsense. But somewhere in the mountains of Heaven's Bridge, which that part of the world is not particularly mountainous, but apparently there's some, because that's how they ended up entering into the Everdark. And it seemed like they knew to go there to get underground, but everything after they got underground and tried moving westward to get to you and where you're at now, everything after that was unknown. And so she's just been taking notes and charting the significant places and moments of their journey ever since. Most of which is unremarkable except for landmarks that mean nothing to you. But you do see that whenever this journal is referencing where they're trying to go, it is always referring to the temple.
Even if she like goes back like several pages, she can't find where like this whole journey started, like what propelled them onto it.
There are references to the library that seems to be whoever Shoko is working for. She seems to be whatever this research expedition is, which you do see in here in no uncertain terms. This is a research expedition. It is being funded and sort of overseen, I guess, as far as we'll be reviewing the notes afterward, by a library somewhere. But that's as much as is stated on paper. to be fair, over in that part of the world, a lot of the cities are pretty big on libraries and archiving information and history. Some of that is a remnant from when Barrett Hold ruled over those territories, because that's a huge thing in Barrett Hold is education, history, the arts. They very much like to document and understand everything in like the hoity-toity upper echelons of society, and so apparently some of that value has been retained in those areas, and so people just like being able to keep track of stuff through the ages now.
Hmm.
So you don't know of any particular libraries, like presumably the Royal Arcane Academy in Neris, in the capital of Barrett Hold, but like that is universally referred to as the Academy. So it's
Hmm.
probably not that. But beyond that, you wouldn't necessarily get anything more specific.
Okay. And then, because she can hold this spell for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, if she glances at the other books, does she have an idea what they're about?
Yeah. They're mostly historical textbooks or like reference books. Um, Particularly, there's one um, about ancient religious practices of several ages of the world ago.
Hmm.
There aren't any marks in there to be like, this is specifically what I'm looking for. But looking for an ancient temple, that makes enough sense as a reference material. Um, there's also one about foraging for supplies in, like, with an emphasis on mushrooms and fungus. Like,
Oh,
just.
she's copying that down for ASGA.
Yeah, just very much a don't eat this or you die, or you get teleported to another plane of existence if it's a weird magic mushroom, who knows?
Yeah.
Like just like a little travel survivor's handbook sort of thing. And then there's one other one that is really small, but it is a bound book, but there's not a lot in it. And the only things about it are deities of the forgotten past, is what the book is called.
Oh. Interesting.
So, presumably, that probably has to do with the fact you're looking, or they are looking for an ancient temple.
Yeah.
Probably more of a what to know about whatever deity that temple was associated with.
Yeah.
But again, nothing is marked in there to say who it is.
Is there like an index?
Yeah, there is.
Could Nemo use her smarts to like narrow it down? She's like, well, let's look for any deities that has a domain over like the Underdark or the Everdark.
Make a religion or a history check for that then.
You got this, Nemo.
I believe in myself.
I believe in you that believes in yourself.
We've probably already used more history and religion checks in this campaign than any of my other Yvard campaigns.
You're
They
welcome.
didn't get used a lot, so I'm glad we get to do them.
Let's do. I think history will align with her better. Where's that saying?
Hey, that's decent.
Okay. Most of these are names you haven't heard of, or if you have, they're fairly still in common practice somewhere. They're just apparently older gods than you realized. As far as like, maybe not like in proper age the god has existed, but like since they've been formally worshipped and recognized for longer than you've realized. But you don't find any that stand out as being associated with being underground, being in, caverns or mountains or dark spaces. Nothing that would really jump out at you.
Okay. Since she already used up that roll, she's just gonna put everything back into that sack and put it where she found it. And then she was like, well, okay, the Owlin's smart enough not to write it down. Maybe the Goliath is dumb enough to.
Although, I guess no, there is one on there you would recognize. You wouldn't even necessarily know why, but it's a name you would have, for some reason, you would probably recognize as having heard maybe once or twice before in your life.
Oh.
And specifically, it's the name of a very, very old. You're fairly sure it's some kind of like fiendish deity named Losh. Losh. Which, for the record, that is a homebrew figure. That is not a D&D figure. I do not expect you to know that name. And you wouldn't know anything about it other than you see the name and I'm like, I swear I've heard that before. But that would be about it.
Okay.
But for the Goliath's pack, you were hoping that he was dumb enough to write what down? What they were actually looking for?
Yes.
He doesn't have any bound books.
Any loose papers, scraps of papers, anything.
He's got plenty of those. You find in his pack, in addition to like the weapons that are laying around, you find a surprisingly nice and complete set of cartographer's tools.
Oh.
And you find his drawings and sketches that are significantly better than Shoko's were, detailing the places they've been through on their journey. He is apparently a pretty decently skilled cartographer and has been working on maybe not making a fully comprehensive map of every place that they see, but is at least trying to like get some of the basics down to be able to recreate the route that it takes to get all the way from where they entered underground to pretty close to here. Like the last thing you see is kind of like the very start of a sketch showing what is probably the Crystal Lake. But like didn't get very far more in than a couple of crystals.
Okay.
But other than that, he's got supplies in there. He's got a helmet that's about as beat up and scarred as his face is.
Like when she sees like the cartographer kit, she's like, "Oh, I apologize for calling you dumb. I so didn't mean it. Please don't do that about the armor." Like continues to check to see if there's any other papers, anything that could give them any hints or leverage on them.
Not really. That's the extent of
Yeah.
anything written down you can find that might be remotely of interest.
Okay.
There's not even really anything for like missives and letters to update whatever library they're at, or
Yeah.
write home and send a postcard and say I found this really cool mushroom underground today, and also I almost burned to death. Like nothing like that. They don't
Yeah.
seem like they correspond much when they travel.
Okay. So she's gonna put everything back as close as possible as to how she found it.
I suppose I did forget to mention you do find some money. I don't know if you do anything with it, but they do have some money.
I feel like with her intelligence, she would know better to take anything for someone that's going to be with them for a while.
Fair.
Yeah,
Up to
because
you.
she already cut up his armor.
Okay, fair enough.
You were saving his life. It was okay.
Yeah, I could only hope that that'll be enough to convince him. And just because she's nosy, are there any other areas that seem to have stuff that you could go look through?
Like, it looks like this general area once had stuff, but there's not really a ton here right now. This looks like kind of a loose general storage space, or maybe a place for like travelers through that are friends to stay. But like there's a couple crates of things that if you crack them open are just like moldy old foodstuffs and more moldy old not foodstuffs. And who knows what it used to be, but now it's sprouting small mushrooms out of it.
Oh.
It's their nursery.
Yeah,
They're
she's
children.
like, I'm gonna put those back down. I'm sorry, little ones. Please don't tell the other.
But yeah, no, there's nothing else immediately around unless you wanted to try and ransack any of the houses in their various states of burned or not burned.
No, I think like the last thing she'll do is look at like gear, see like if there's any rope, because you can never have enough rope. Maybe a sleeping bag so she can finally have her own.
Yeah, they do have like bedrolls in their stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, like around in the
Not belonging to the Owlin or the.
Oh, then no. The stuff that's on this map is just on the map because I didn't make this map.
Oh, okay. And yeah, she's just gonna. I think now what she'll be worried about is like if the Owlin's not asleep. How long do you think that would have taken her?
Probably a good 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, she'll just go in with the others because safety in numbers.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, you guys get in here. People are in varying states of getting ready to sleep or at least settle in. Varkon is already fast asleep again. Shoko is kind of putzing around. She doesn't seem like she's super talkative at the moment, but she'd converse with any of you over the course of the long rest if any of you wanted to. Cough, cough, looks at Yejiye. But you guys can swap out, and at least each of you get a couple hours rest in one of the two beds in this building. Eventually, during Ron's shift during the year-long rest, Varkon will wake up and actually go like pull watch with him without being told to. Just, I guess, old warrior habits. I mean, they can't.
And it's his job.
It is, yeah. But there is kind of a weird dynamic between the two that's like seems like maybe they could get along if there wasn't, a very significant language barrier. But also like at the same time there is, so you don't quite know what to make of the other one yet. But it's harmless overall. And you don't have any developments during your long rest. Everybody's able to sleep as well as they can.
Before the long rest would have ended, when we were like prepping to sleep, Yeshia would have taken an egg out of her pocket and, oh yeah, the Weave is going to lose interest in this if anyone wants to fly around for a bit. She holds up just a egg that's decorated in blue and whites. It's just like like a chicken egg or something. Not a very exciting egg, but like the pattern's still nice.
If Cole doesn't jump for it, Nemo's going to, and she's gonna chase after Cole.
Try to slap it on him.
Yeah.
Cole's doesn't care.
Just smacks it onto his head. Like, Fly,
This
little
is-
one,
This
fly!
is pretty much. Is that not post?
It did.
Is that post?
Yeah.
I can't see it on my own screen.
Oh,
But that's
that's
pretty
perfect.
much what it looks like.
So, Cole goes from kind of leaning up against the wall, just kind of propped up against his pack to sleep, and then just kind of floats up onto the ceiling and is
Oh
Kind of-
shit.
shuffling over. On
You
the
get a
roof.
flying speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes.
Ayashi, how does he get down?
He could control it if he wants to.
Yeah.
Or I have rope.
It's not a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory potion where you're uncontrollably levitating into the fan.
No, I was just worried if it just like if it's gradual to stop or does he just fall?
At the
Oh.
10 minutes, he'll probably just plummet from wherever he is.
Yeah, it would be a very abrupt end. So yeah, if you were, flying over a canyon and lost track of time, you know when it's out
Mhm.
very, very quickly. But the first time, Cole, that you're like up in the air moving around, Shoko stretches her wings and joins you and just kind of watches with a strange curiosity as you navigate the airspace that she very comfortably can manage on her own.
Oh hey, Ayashi makes that exact same egg again.
Excellent.
Good, I don't have to put anything new in my inventory.
Nope.
Just gonna put that egg back in there. It is gonna look slightly different, but it's essentially the same exact egg
It's a very pretty egg.
at the
Uh,
end of her long rest.
Cole's gonna look to Shoko. This isn't how I figured my evening would end.
I also did
And
not
just-
think your evening would involve flight.
That was a genuine chuckle from Cole.
It's rare. Write that down.
I know.
Cole had a
Yes,
real
he
laugh
is.
today.
How do you like the view up there?
Quite a bit more than I'm used to. But it's not a bad one.
It does not get old. It is always better to be high.
It's not always an option for some of us.
It is today.
That it is. How long do I have this for?
How long has it been?
ASGA. I was gonna say ASGA kind of stops and thinks for a minute. I don't know, probably 2/3 more of the time. So ASGA's way of saying 3 minutes without, or you've spent 3 minutes without saying you've spent 3 minutes.
No. So Cole will do a couple just slow, lazy laps up on the roof or on the ceiling.
It has to
before-
feel kind of comfy,
Yeah.
right? Like just floating.
Yeah, it's like you're lazily floating in the water without being wet or cold.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause it's not fast. It is only 10 feet per round.
Yeah. And
So
I'm
if
I'm
he's
going-
doing
Your lazy river.
Yeah. lazy river just kind of floating around the ceiling.
Yeah.
Cole, I guess any of you would notice, but Cole, it would probably be most apparent to you. When Shoko is flying, her wings make zero noise. For how big they are, you would think those big feathers would like ruffle or woof at all, but they are silent.
Consider that a threat.
Yeah.
Well, that's an owl for you.
You right?
Nemo like elbows. Yes, yeah. Write that down.
Yeshiye might actually take inspiration from Shoko for this next experimental egg, and that's why it ends up as flight.
Fair. Makes
I
sense.
totally didn't just, randomly roll it or anything.
Chat said, I honestly thought that was a Nerf football before I enlarged the picture on the video of the egg. Excellent. Thank you.
I mean, we kind of treat them that way, so.
It's true. Yeah. But yeah, you guys get your long rest, replenish and refresh everything. Spell slots, abilities, health all get refilled. And in the morning, there's whoever has the morning watch would be updated at the start of their shift. And as long as you're doing even a half-assed job at what you were supposed to be doing during your watch, you would know the shepherd has not come back or returned at all. There's been nothing significant to report from outside this building. So were you guys thinking you'd just get on your way? Were you going to stick around and wait for the shepherd to show, or hope you dodge that bullet?
I think at this point it would be prudent to get on the road before he returns.
There's a good chance we'll run into him on the road anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Definitely less explaining
Yeah.
than if he finds us here.
Okay. You'll be able to get out of here and back to the Crystal Lake without any issue. You don't see him or his living herd when you get back to where this tunnel reconnects you to the Crystal Lake. But you had to travel a little bit from the last time you actually saw him before you found the right exit anyway. And crossing the Crystal Lake and progressing takes overall another like 2 days. Travel is fairly slow, to be fair, because both Ron and Varkon are wanting to really take your time and make sure you're not running into any potential hostile things down here. You do have to reroute a few times because of suspected dangers. But also, Varkon kind of slows things down a bit because he does stop and produce that cartography equipment from time to time and does actually take like some measurements and notes and drawings of some of the areas you pass. And he's actually like being a cartographer as you travel, which I guess to any of you except Nemo, unless Nemo told people what she had found and what she had done, like this would be an unexpected surprise because this dude really just seems like hired muscle. But as they're on a research expedition of some kind, it does seem he has another purpose for being here. And he seems to enjoy it genuinely. Shoko does the same thing. It's really hard to find Shoko not reading a lot of the time. Particularly Nemo, you see her not devoted to a single one of the reading materials in her pack, but she kind of goes through and refreshes stuff if she's not writing in her own actual like logbook of the journey. But she does spend time every night in camp working on writing down what's gone on during the day. Which for the next couple days, nothing really significant happens. The Crystal Lake is a huge cavern. One of those 2 days of travel is just crossing the lake and getting to the other side, and that's pretty much the entire day. And the next one is a little bit of, once you leave the Crystal Lake, it's a little bit of trying some of these offshooting paths for a little bit, and then Shoko and Varkon saying, I don't think that's it, and wanting to backtrack. But eventually, you guys do get somewhere that has a huge cavernous ceiling that's not the Crystal Lake. And you can see the crumbled remains of an upper wall and like a roof overhead. And there's like stone, naturally occurring stone, and just like ground formation that blocks off the front for most of the front of this entire ruined building, whatever it is. But Shoko seems real excited when you guys first lay eyes on this. And she goes,
I think we found it. I think that's it.
and she zooms off ahead of you and just starts flying in excited little circles.
Oh, Ayeshiei gets that feeling. Because while we've been stopping for cartographer stuff, Ayeshiei has still been collecting any mushrooms she comes across now that they don't have a myconid in the vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, and let's see if I have all my settings and stuff done up quite right.
Well, this is good. I was starting to get tired of walking.
I will say on this new map, very bottom right is where you guys should be able to be and see.
You're just scrambling us everywhere.
Scroll, scroll, scroll.
I don't have the tokens for your companions here yet, but they are here with you. But as you get into this narrow little opening in this stonework, I say stonework, these stone formations in the ground, um, there's a narrow opening that is the door of this ruined, according to Shoko, temple. And the door is collapsed in on itself. You can see that there's stuff inside, and it's not fully like collapsed, it's just this entranceway. So you're probably in the right place, but getting into it might take a little bit of figuring. But this place has been here for a really, really long time. That much is very obvious from the weathering on the stones. But at the same time, for how long this has very obviously been here, it is in inexplicably good shape, the crumbled, collapsed door notwithstanding. And it seems like this is definitely going to be a noteworthy experience, just getting to see this place with your own eyes, regardless of whatever is or isn't inside. And Shoko and Varkon immediately begin like pulling out some books and reference materials and trying to look things over as you guys are able to step up as you see yourselves, hopefully on the map, in front of this crumbled door, and you guys can start exploring these ruins when we pick up next week.
How dare.
Sounds good.
Woohoo! Yeah. So, thanks for playing tonight, everybody. I hope you had some fun interacting with your new companions.
Thanks, Ulf.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for
Of
playing, everybody.
course.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week, same time, same place. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Have a good night.
Good night.
So
Bye,
long,
bye, bye, bye.
farewell.
Alrighty, my friends. Thanks for hanging out tonight. We made it. We made it to a set of ruins that they have been told might be where they need to be. We'll find out, maybe not necessarily even next week if that's the right place, but we'll find out more about where they are, that's for sure. So, I'm still here. Excellent, Carl. I'm very glad you're still here. Thank you. Um, yeah, I hope there's been some interesting insights and suspicions about the party characters, the new characters. We definitely got to look at some of their varying insights and motivations that I think help dispel this notion that they're all the same character. Which, admittedly, I know that joke's been made a few times now by some of the players themselves, but it hadn't even occurred to me as the DM, as I was helping them flesh out their characters, that they would even appear this similar. But I do promise, as events happen, as they level up, it will become clearer that they do have their own distinct things. And I'm excited to see that come forth. And I'm excited to see what shenanigans they get into in this particular place. But that'll have to happen next week. So, Carl, good luck in your weather you've got out there. And anybody else, if you have weather this evening or anytime in the near future, take care of yourselves, be safe, be smart, or don't. I'm not your supervisor, but I just like knowing y'all are okay. Until then, yeah, yeah, I've said what I gotta say. My brain's a little fried, so as far as I'm aware, we'll be here same time, same place next week. And if you missed anything, or you want to go back and relive some of your favorite moments, the VOD will be on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go check it out there. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Stay tuned. There'll be more to follow.